Welcome all again. Good morning to all of you. I hope you guys are ready to have your voice heard in the digital age of advertising. Chathura?
Yeah, Shanaka. So, welcome to the latest era of marketing. I'm Chathura Fernando, and
I'm Shanaka Silva. The two of us will be hosting today's session for you guys. Alright, so just to get started, we'll start with the introduction and then we'll proceed on to the 10 tips. Okay, so as you guys know, we have been through different stages in our civilization as human beings, starting from the hunter-gatherer stage to the agricultural stage to the industrial stage and finally to the information stage. But now we are at the dawn of a new age, the age of augmented humanity or augmented age of humanity. Now, what exactly is augmented age of humanity? If we consider all the tools that we've been using so far during different stages, they've always been passive. Basically, we've always used them for a specific task and that's it. But now the tools have advanced as well. Basically, at the augmented age of humanity, the tools that we use is actually interactive. So it doesn't have to be one way, but we can use it in an interactive manner as well. So basically, at the augmented age of humanity, that is where humans work in harmony with technology and to enhance our lives and to fulfill our potential as human beings. Alright, so now that we got that clear, let us look at a couple of social media platforms that we work on. So there are six types of social media platforms. For an example, we have social networks like Facebook and LinkedIn, and then we have bookmarking sites like Pinterest or Flipboard. Then we have social news like Dig, photo sharing sites like Instagram, Snapchat, and Pinterest, video sharing sites like YouTube, Facebook, or Vimeo, and also microblogging like Twitter or Tumblr that you guys are a bit familiar with already. But the question is, now that we are familiar with all the social media platforms, why should you be in social media platforms rather? Or rather, why should you advertise in social media platforms? Now, to answer that, we need to look at the second question as well, right? So the reason would be that most of the human beings are now on social media platforms. So if you're an advertiser, if you want to advertise your product, then you definitely have to consider social media platforms as well. All right, the second point again would be, who is your target audience? So you can't be targeting everyone, but in this case, who are you specifically targeting in terms of your social media content and your product, right? So you need to clearly identify your target audience, but we will discuss about that a little bit down the line that I promised you guys, right? And the third one is, what are you going to share? Your content is extremely important as well, guys. So whether it is ethical, and also the fact that whether it's going to evoke product recall or concept recall, whether the fact that your content will actually deliver the consumers to make that final decision where they will purchase your product. All right, and where are you going to share? The next point. So that is also extremely important, guys. So depending on your target audience, some might be on Instagram more than Facebook or YouTube. So we need to decide, we need to figure out what are the platforms that we want to work on. Also, when are you going to share? Now, as you guys know, the time that we might target a housewife for even on social media might be a little bit different to the time that we might target a student, a school kid maybe. And also, there are off-peak days, peak days. So we need to figure out when exactly we should be sharing our content. All right, that is also extremely important. So now that we have cleared the 5 W's, let me introduce my friend to clear up some more interesting topics for you guys. Chathura?
yeah, Shanaka. So I think Shanaka started with a good introduction about the social media and how we are going to work with social media. So here in social media marketing, you're not only selling your product, but also you're investing the time to build a community around your product. Remember, you're investing the time to build a community around your product. That is very important because that is the future of your product. That's the future of your business. So how we are going to do this? So there are many ways. The basic thing is So you have to share something daily. And other thing is you have to keep the relationship with the customer using social media platforms. So these two will enhance the relationship with the customer, and thus you can build a community around your product. So that is the social media marketing. So then we have social media marketing tools. So what are the social media marketing tools? When you're working with the social media marketing and advertising, you have to manage social media platforms and you have to create content. So social media marketing tools are for that. So you can manage consumer behaviors and engagements in the social media platforms using social media marketing tools. And you can setting new targets and you can analyze your reach. So on the other hand, you can work with the social media marketing creative content. So this is for social media marketing. And let's quickly figure out what are the most famous social media marketing tools. First, it's Biteable, Buffer, Missing Letter, BuzzSumo, and Meetager. So Biteable is something like that. Biteable is a free video creative content. So you don't need a background knowledge to create a content, video-based content for Biteable. So using Biteable, you can create interesting video content for social media marketing. Buffer, Missing Letter, and BuzzSumo and Meetager, these are for managing marketing, social media marketing in platforms. This is very important, and I'm suggesting you to use these social media marketing tools. Right. Next, we are going to discuss about social media goals. Remember, when you are starting a social media marketing campaign or advertising campaign, you must have a certain goals, or rather certain goal. So there are 9 social media marketing goals. So what you can do is, when you're starting your campaign, when you're planning your campaign in the planning stage, you have to select, you have to be certain what are the social media marketing goals you're going to achieve in the social media campaign. So quickly, let's go through with these 9 social media marketing goals. The first, increasing brand awareness. That is good for your brand. Drive traffic to your website, generate new leads, grow revenue, boost brand engagement, build a community around your business, provide a social customer service, increase mentions in the press, listen to conversations about your product. Remember, listen to conversations about your product is important because it's a customer feedback. So these are the 9 social media marketing goals when you have to think about before you're starting a social media campaign. Right. Now we are on to 10 tips for designing and designing for social media adverts. So Shanaka, I think we can start with the tip number 1, right?
Absolutely, Chathura. Thank you so much. So guys, this is what you guys been waiting for actually, the 10 tips. So let's get started. Tip number 1, develop concepts based on current trends. What does that mean? All right, so I'm sure you guys are familiar looking back at maybe a couple of years back, like 2 years down the line. There was a huge trend, a huge potential, huge movement, in fact, where people were acting against environmental pollution. So big brands like Adidas actually had to shift, where they had to build products in these terms. So Adidas X Pali is a really good example where they started making shoes out of ocean waste material. But having said that, let me give you 2 really cool local examples as well. Happy Happy is a really good example for a local product, innovative product, actually bean bags. But here's the deal. Now these guys go to the extent of actually collecting cigarette butts off the beaches in Sri Lanka, purify them and make bean bags out of those. How cool is that, right? Also, there's another cool brand called Flipyan. Flipyan is also another product where they actually make stuff out of ocean waste materials. So they make stuff like sunglasses, bead necklaces, the really cool stuff. So likewise, we need to figure out what are the current trends that is happening around the world in your country maybe, and how do we come with a business plan or a business concept for that. All right. Now you guys might wonder, so how do we know? How do we figure out the trends that is happening around the world? So one good way is a really good tool would be the Google Trends. So all you gotta do is just put your country, your location as Sri Lanka, and put a topic that you want to search upon, and voila, you get all the tips that you need, all the information that you need. Really cool stuff. Another good tool would be trendwatching.com. So they also put up really good trends that is happening around the world where you guys can have a lot of inspiration from. All right, now that we cleared up those, let's look at a case study. Here's Sonic Squash Shakes, a really cool example for how they actually made use of Instagram for social media work. And also, you guys might be familiar that since couple of years back, food blogging was a huge thing. All right, people are making so many huge food videos, especially channels like Tasty, Bon Appetit, right? So based on one of those trends, these guys, Sonic Squash Shakes, were inspired for that, where they made specific shakes, but in the form of how do I put it, just to fit with Instagram. All right, so let's check it out. All right, so I hope you guys saw that. It's really cool stuff. Here's another really good example, guys. So Burger King did this amazing campaign as well, but since we have a limited time, I'm gonna have to let you guys check it out on your own. So the link is available for you guys to check it out. Right? Please do check it out. All right, so coming to tip number 2, understanding the correct target audience. I promised you guys that we will discuss about this a little down the line. So here it is. All right. So how do we understand the correct target audience? Simply producing a product is not sufficient enough, or in fact, just simply understanding your key competitive benefit advantage is not enough either. We need to understand, once you figure out your concept, your product, once you figure out your message, but we need to figure out whom are we talking to, the target audience. That is extremely crucial, guys. All right. So now, when it comes to understanding your target audience, there are different aspects that we can look into, like the psychographics, demographics, the beliefs, their social backgrounds. But more than anything, what is really important, guys, is the fact that you understand the customer's pain points and desires intimately. Now remember, the customer's pain points and the desires intimately, that you have to understand. All right. So here's a really good example for that. Heineken, a couple of years back, or actually many years back, did this campaign where they understood their target audience, the young guys, like who would love to watch a football match with a couple of beers with their friends, had this serious problem, right? So this whole moment that they had with their friends with a couple of beers, while watching a football match, was a sacred moment for them. But the problem was, as time goes by, this moment was increasingly at risk with their new responsibilities, children, in-laws, girlfriends. It just kept getting risky and just difficult to do. So Heineken understood this clearly, and they came up with a solution that actually helped them with their desire, that is to be with their loved ones, their friends, but enjoy a football match together. Right. So the link is there for you guys to refer. It's a really cool campaign, guys, and the reach that they gained out of that, the media popularity without spending so much, was immense. So that's the power of social media advertising. All right. All right. So coming to tip number 3. Now, yes, you guys now understand what exactly, or rather how to approach target audience, how to come up with a concept based on a new trend, but the next important thing is, right, when it comes to writing your content, how do you grab their attention? Is there a formula that we can actually apply? All right. So here it is, right? The technique is AIDA. So let's check out what AIDA formula is. Okay. So when you guys are writing your content, just make sure that the immediate first half is to grab the attention. Big letters, colors, right? Whichever that works, the sentencing, the wording, right? Grab the attention. Now remember, guys, when it comes to grabbing the attention, we only have a very limited time span. The window would be 8 to 12 seconds. That is the attention span of a consumer nowadays. So within that limited time, you need to grab the attention immediately. If not, what will happen is your consumers will just switch to another channel or another feed. All right. So you're going to lose the opportunity. Now, once you grab the attention, right, you need to develop an interest as well. Right, keep the reader's interest, right, with interesting facts. Now I'm going to show you guys an example for this, so don't worry. Now, once you develop the interest, we need to build a desire as well. So whatever the topic, the product, the concept that you're trying to sell, once we develop an interest, we need to make a desire. All right, we need to show them what will happen in their lives without the product. So hence they will be inspired or propelled to actually buy your product. All right. Then finally we have the action or call to action, where the consumers will be desired for your product and they will actually make that decision and hit the button and purchase it. All right. So here's a really good example, guys. Now look at this layout, look at the patterns, look at the designs, and look at the wordings. Right. So now since we're focusing on the words itself, now the title there itself says new theme parks, but in color, right? Big letters. And then it grabs our attention with the visuals, and then immediately below that says holiday passes, right? Grabs our interest as well. And then they make a desire, enjoy 7 or 21 days entry. And then finally, right, they take us to the call to decision factor or buy now button, right? And then we make that decision. So likewise, when you guys create your content, you need to make sure that you guys follow the AIDA formula, right? And lay it out so that they will make that decision at the end. Now, having said that, we also need to figure out how do we evoke the right type of emotions using the right sort of words in a text-based content. Because most of the times what you will be sharing, it will be mostly text-based, like in Instagram, maybe in microblogging and stuff. So, but in microblogging, this might not apply, but in most cases, we do use text-based content. But in that case, how do we make the best out of it? How do we make sure rather that we evoke the right emotions in the consumers? All right. So here's a simple technique that you guys can do, right? Let's just say that you guys the emotion that you wanna evoke in your audience would be happiness. The word you're looking for is then joy. So what you guys can do is, in fact, when you guys are writing your content, right, you can make the word joy bigger so that immediately, it grabs the attention of your consumers and they will relate to what they're trying, you are trying to express. Rather they'll feel that, joy is feeling maybe, all right? So, and also remember guys, assertive language plus a pleasant product increases processing fluency. Now, if you guys are wondering what processing fluency is, that is the time when the consumers actually decide whether or not this is important or not for me. So based on that only, we will go to call to action. So hence, processing fluency part is extremely important. So remember, having assertive language with a pleasant product will definitely make a pleasant experience for the consumers as well. All right. Okay, the next thing is when it comes to words, right, rhyming. Now guys, there's nothing that works magically like rhyming. Rhyming is extremely awesome. Now look at this one. Beans means Heinz. All right, and also it needn't be hell with nicotine L, right? Rhymes magical and it just works like magic. So basically, try to rhyme the words with the brand name. That is why it works. All right. Okay, so I hope that is clear to you guys. So let's move on to the next tip. Tip number 5. How does eye movement help us driving the consumers to call to action point? All right. And what exactly is eye movement? So let's just imagine that in your layout, there's a model, there's a picture rather, all right, and there's body text, there's a headline, and then finally at the bottom there's a logo. So how would we move the audience from the model, the picture, to the heading, to the body copy, the text, and then finally to the logo, right? So there has to be something that motivates them. There has to be something that drives them accordingly, right? That is known as eye movement. So that can be done depending on the way you lay it out, all right? Here's a really good example. Now, if you look at these two images, guys, in the first one, the baby is actually looking at us. And as you can see, the red spot, the attention, where the attention of the consumer goes is indicated with red. The high attention is actually focused on the baby's face because the baby is actually looking directly at us. Hence, the problem is our attention is totally focused on the baby, the model, and that, as a result, we are not focusing very much on the heading, nor the text, nor the product or the logo. So a trick would be if you have the baby looking at, or rather have the baby's looking direction towards the body text, the headline, and then from the headline we drive them to the body text, to the product, and then to the logo. That'll be a nice technique. That'll be a very interesting technique that you guys can follow with the layout. All right. Okay, and here's another example. So you can see clearly how the eye moves within this layout. Okay. Now, since we have discussed about how to pick a trend, so that you guys can be inspired for a new concept for a product or a business, and since we discussed about consumers, eye movement, and AIDA, right? Let's look at something more different. Let's look at something more emotional. Let's look at something more interesting, right? So let me introduce my friend Chathura to take you guys, or rather guide you guys through the next few topics. Chathura, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Shanaka. So here's the tip number 6, storytelling with an emotional appeal. Right? Remember, we all love to hear, watch, and read stories. So other than using a conventional advertising methods, here this is something out of box. You can use storytelling with an emotional appeal. In other words, you can tell a story, but the story should have an emotional appeal towards the consumers, towards the audience. So what happens at the end of the story, you can introduce your product and you can promote your product. So storytelling with an emotional appeal is highly recommended method in social media marketing. So let's see how we are going to do this. First, you can create or produce creative social media videos. There are a lot of examples you can go through in the internet and the YouTube. This is very effective method because normally users don't like to watch an advertisement, but they like to watch or read a story. So here what we are going to do, we are going to use an inspiring message or thrilling content, or it can be a motivation content, right? By using them, we are going to keep the attention of the audience and then, or the users, and then we are going to introduce our product. So that is creating social media videos in a storytelling method. So now, I think Shanaka previously mentioned something about attention span. So in the IDA format, so attention in the Gen Z crowd or the Generation Z people, the Gen Z crowd, they have only a short span of their attention, that is 8 seconds to 10 seconds. So what happens if will they watch a long video? No. So how we are going to attract or address that Gen Z crowd, right? So there are ways. This is our suggestion actually. So our suggestion is you can use short duration episodes like 8 to say 10-second pieces. Through this episode, you can tell a story which is very effective way, and then you can introduce your product. So this is very creative and effective. So there are a lot of examples. If you can watch in the YouTube, the Samsung and other brands, they have used this in an effective way and creative way. So here we have a small example. This is Apple Watch, how they have used this storytelling based video technique in their marketing. Shanaka, shall we watch this video?
Definitely, Chathura. Let's check it out.
My name is Michael Jackson. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and my dad's name was also Michael Jackson, and he's older. Michael Jackson. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and my dad's name was also Michael Jackson, and he's older than the famous one, so I like to say we got it first. I have what's called spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. I was born premature. My family is very important to me. I like to call my mom Super Mom. She was a nurse, and she still is a nurse to this day, even though she doesn't have her license anymore. You never lose that, and she's a great mom. One day, I started to feel a little bit off. A short while later, I actually woke up from a notification on my Apple Watch that said that my heart rate was above what my limit was for a period of rest. And when I got to the ER, it was determined that I had sepsis. In times like that, it's really scary because you don't know what's going on and what's going to happen. So the Apple Watch really helped mitigate the risk that I was facing. I've always admired Apple, but I've never thought that I would have ever admired Apple for potentially saving my life, because that's what the watch did.
Back to you, Chathura.
Yeah, thank you, Shanaka. So this is an interesting example, right? How Apple Watch saves this person's life, and this has emotional appeal, and through that they are selling their product, right? The second way of this storytelling with an emotional appeal is using images. For this, you need two things. That is, you need attractive images or photographs, and then you need a good background story with an interesting text. So what we are going to do is we are going to merge these two and tell a story, and then finally we are going to introduce the product. This method or image-based storytelling is done easily, so you don't need a background knowledge for this, right? So that's why I'm suggesting this method is very simple, but it has a great potential in sharing content. Let's see a small example. This is Gillette, how they have done this in their social media campaign in 2018. So please read this. So how they have used that background story with text, with images, and finally they are going to create some inspiring message to the audience. Through that, they are going to market the product. Right. www.canva.com. So Canva is something you can create your own images with stories. So you don't need a background knowledge for that. So there are a lot of sites like Canva. When you want to do image storytelling, you can easily go to these sites and then you can create images. You don't need background knowledge or technical knowledge for that. The third method in the storytelling technique is audio podcasting storytelling. Remember, when people have work, when they are doing something, or when they are engaged in an activity, they don't have to watch things. They don't have time to watch it, but they want to hear it. So this is an interesting way. You can create a humorous audio podcast or inspiring and motivational audio podcast with the music and everything. Through that, you're going to tell a story. And at the end of the story, you're going to introduce your product. That is audio podcasting storytelling. Right. So now I'm moving to the tip number 7. Tip number 7 is personal recommendation message to create PVT or the private message groups and data banks. Remember, advertisers can introduce the product, but to buy that product, we need a social proof or we need an opinion. So here, what we are going to do is we are going to do a social media marketing using a user-generated content. That's a very simple and effective way. How we are going to do this? There are many ways. So simple method is when a customer purchases your product, we are letting him to post that product, and we are letting him to recommend some friends of him to buy this product. So through these recommendations, what we are going to do, we are going to expand our customer chain. So this is important and this is effective. So, and this can be done easily. You can give an offers or promotions for this. So this is very effective because this is something like word of mouth, right? So in the early history of the communication, word of mouth is the most effective way. So this is a type of word of mouth. So what you can do is you can let your consumers to add more consumers to your customer span, and you can develop your marketing. That is our tip number 7. So now we are going to the tip number 8, that is merging and influencer marketing. Right. So this is, according to the social media advertisers and the experts, merging and the influencer marketing is the best way to do marketing, because today the social media dominated by influencers. There are a lot of social media influencers who dominate social media. They can be video content creators, they can be humorous content creators, they can be models or anything. So what you can do is we are going to hire these influencers, social media influencers, for your marketing. That is very cheap and that is the most effective method, because they have a good social media followers, they have good social media community. What you can do is you can promote your brand within their social media community. That is very effective. So this is something you can do without posting any photograph or any post in your social media campaign. But we have to think about 5 things before you go to influencer marketing. First, you have to think about who is the most suitable influencer for the product. There are a lot of social media influencers. If you're using Instagram influencers, there are a lot of Instagram social media models or social media bloggers. Or when you go to YouTube content, you have a lot of creative video content influencers like Blockantino, Basti, something like that. So you have to choose the most suitable influencer. For here, remember Shanaka mentioned something in the target audience. So you have to think about your target audience and who is the most suitable influencer for your product. Second, this is very important part in this influencer marketing, that is, you have to check with the influencer's following span and average of user engagement, because there are some influencers who can earn the followers through fake accounts. So you have to check with that. You have to be certain that this influencer can help me, can promote my business. Right. Third important part, that is, discuss the most effective collaboration activity. It can be a song or it can be a small part of a video, but still it's effective. It can be a review, it can be a case study or anything. So when you are engaged in influencer marketing, you have to think these three things. So let's see a simple example. I think most of you have watched this video. Vasti Creative Group, they have created something called Backside Tangent. So it's a humorous content. In that content, you have a small car advertisement or rapid taxi service advertisement. So that is how the merging works. It's only a small part of that video, right? But still, that is effective for advertising. So that is merging and influencer marketing. Now we are going to the tip number 9. This is social commerce. So what is social commerce actually? Social commerce is a combination of two main concepts, that is social media and e-commerce. So what we are going to do is we are going to do e-commerce in the social media. It's like the combination of social media and e-commerce. So how we are going to do this? So when the customer or when a user posted a photograph of your product when they are going to purchase or something like that, so then you can easily, through the apps, you can connect that post into your website, and a third party can easily purchase your product through your first customer's post. So that is social commerce. And remember, this is the future. And here we have another advantage in here, because it's a recommendation, right? So it's a recommendation. When someone bought this or purchased your product, it's a recommendation. So that recommendation is also helpful when you are doing your advertising for your business. So this is how it works. First, you have shoppable stories and posts. Then you have social commerce plugins and apps. So through these apps, a third party or another consumer can reach your e-commerce sites and purchase the product. We have a small introduction video about how to use this, how we use this user-generated content in the social commerce. Right, Shanaka, shall we watch this video?
Definitely, Chathura. Let's check it out.
Your fans create for your brand content that showcases your awesome products or services and collect it on a social wall. Would you like to turn user-generated content into sales? Simply take content your fans create for your brand, content that showcases your awesome products or services, and collect it on a social wall. Then add a button that links directly to your website, where users can find out more. The Walls.io call to action button helps you do just that. It turns user-generated content into an important part of your sales funnel by using it to boost conversions. Let content created by your fans convince other shoppers to buy your products, and let them click right through to your website. Setup is easy. Sign up for a free Walls.io trial and create your social wall to start collecting content created by your fans. Choose the content you want to display on your wall. place the social commerce button on select posts, and decide where it should link to. Your button can be a Buy Now button, or a Download button, or even a Learn More button. That's up to you, and the Walls.io social commerce feature flexibly adapts to multiple use cases. Look at Buyer Dynamic, for example. Buyer Dynamic manufactures audio equipment and is using the Walls.io social commerce feature to draw attention to the brand's products. They collect user posts which mention Buyer Dynamic on a social wall and then add Learn More buttons to the posts. This makes it really easy for people to click through to the product pages in the online shop and potentially buy something immediately. The social wall is also embedded on the Buyer Dynamic website. Welcome to Social Commerce with Walls.io. Start collecting user-generated content and enrich it with a direct link to your product or services using a social wall. Create a free social.
Right. Thank you, Shanaka.
No worries, Chathura.
Right. So now I think you have a clear idea how you can use user-generated content and the social commerce plugins for your business, right? So let's move to the tip number 10, that is social proofing. Remember that only advertisers can introduce the product, but you need a proof, or you need an opinion, you need a social opinion. You have to build that social opinion. So how we are going to build that social opinion or the social proof? That is what we are going to discuss here, right? So for that, you need a third party. So you can do like this. You can do a third party case studies and you can upload these videos in the YouTube. So through that, what you can do, you can market your product and you can create a social proof in the social media platforms. So that will drive your customers to your product. So there are many methods you can do. You can create social proof. The one way is case studies. So the next way, you can use reviews or you can use tutorials. So these tutorials and reviews will work because they will create social proof in the social media networks, right? So case studies, tutorials, and reviews. So through these three things, you can create a social proof about your product. And finally, what you can do is, you can market your product into a large followers, large amount of users. So I think we have a video here. So shall we watch this video and then I think we can discuss further. Shanaka?
Yeah.
This is Bob, a male entrepreneur. Bob is a rational beast, and he has just launched a brand new product, a shake that satisfies a human's monthly nutritional needs. A great idea. Here, we see Bob trying to appear credible. A rather fancy marketing courting ritual in order to attract his first customers. Bob is ready, and he waits patiently. Maybe this one? No. Not much seems to work for Bob. The female entrepreneur has chosen a different approach. She is showing off customer behaviors. A simple yet effective courting strategy. An alluring display of social proof. Bob is yet to grasp the concept. Thus, he continues to wait and wind.
Yeah, thank you, Shanaka. All right.
You're
So
welcome, Chathura.
yeah, that is very important, right? So now you have a clear idea how social proof works, right? So before you do when you're doing a marketing, the social proof is very important because it will create a good brand name, create a good community around your product. So now we are in the end of our session, but a small surprise for you. So, Shanaka.
Yes, Chathura. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the two of us felt, a bit generous today, and we thought, hey, you know what? We should give our audience a bonus tip. So I hope you guys are ready for the bonus tip. This tip number 11. All right, cryptocurrency, right? So what exactly is cryptocurrency? If you guys are tired with dealing with all these cash flows, like, especially like dealing with printed cash, well, you know what? You got a solution. So digital currency or cryptocurrency has now become a world phenomenon. And most developed countries and some of the biggest brands actually are shifting towards cryptocurrency now. In fact, there are brands who would let their consumers purchase stuff through cryptocurrency. So if you guys are still wondering how cryptocurrency works, right, let's check out this small video. But it's about a piggy bank, mind you.
Money. We learned about it with this. But for these guys, it looks like this. It's confusing. This is Pigsby, a pocket money app that helps kids age 6 and up learn how to be good with money. With a little help from this little guy. A piggy wallet. This is how it helps kids like Matilda learn how to earn and save money. I select a task from my phone, a reward, and I just send it. Pigsby tells Matilda when there's work to do, and when it's done, Matilda makes it rain. A money tree grows taller, piggy balance grows larger. But there's more. With Pigsby, the whole family can join in for birthday presents, tooth fairies, and pocket money. Straight from the app, from anywhere in the world. Pigsby runs on Wallet, a digital currency designed for families that is fast to transfer and cheap to use. You don't need a bank account to get started, and you can spend it in the real world just like regular money. Pigsby is a new way for children to visualize, interact with, and learn how to save and spend their digital money, so kids can grow up to do the things they really love. This is what the piggy bank did next. This is Pigsby.
So as you guys can see, like really crazy innovative stuff, guys. So like I would definitely recommend that in the future all the SMEs or the small medium enterprises will have to shift to cryptocurrency for their advertising as well, right? So if you guys want to invest on this, we both of us highly recommend on this one, right? This is the future, guys, right? So with that, we conclude today's session. We have come to the last episode, or rather the last slide. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, but hey, we're not done yet. So we have the question and answer session now. So if you guys have any questions, we are happy to discuss about it right now.